welcome to Super 8. I'm Lauren Bedichini and he's Kai Perignon. Tonight, as part of a three-part series on films that smoulder, we look at Terence Davies' latest film, the Emily Dickinson biopic, A Quiet Passion. In the next episode, we'll look back at Wong Kar-wai's In the Mood for Love and conclude with Paul Schrader's fantasy thriller, Cat People. But firstly, A Quiet Passion, Kai?
Terence Davies' film is a portrait of famed American poet Emily Dickinson, following her as she grows from a lively, rebellious schoolgirl into a bitter wreck, cursed with an intelligence out of her time. Davies' film's greatest strength is in its lead. Cynthia Nixon brings the often contradictory behavior of Dickinson to life, always showing vulnerability in her rage, anger in her wit, and sadness in her smile. Where the film falters, then, is in its repetitive narrative, its smug writing, and its stubbornly theatrical staging. Ultimately, the film feels too beholden to history to actually make a story worthy of its beguiling hero.
I will not kneel.
How dare you conduct yourself in such a manner?
Davies crafts some striking moments in A Quiet Passion, at times comedic and at others sublime. It's a shame that they're overshadowed by some perplexing choices. You should leave this film reflecting on Dickinson's wit and persistence through chronic illness, deep insecurity, a social era which devalued her, and an intellect which knew better. Instead, you're likely to leave wondering what the hell that Ken Burns sequence was for. What was it for?
Seriously, in the middle of the film, there's actually nuts. There's a civil war happens, because of course civil war happens, and it cuts this footage of this clearly fake flag, like it's plastic and it's clearly held by wires. They're just.
I don't even feel like there are wires holding it up. I think there's a stick on one side, and then I feel like there's like a puppetry stick on the other side that's like making it wag. But it's just so unsettling after what has been, you know, quite a nice film up to that point, and then it's like Team America flags.
And I think one thing it actually does is it highlights the artifice that I think is very inherent to the film, because it's all staged so theatrically. It's mostly just situated in rooms of people talking and giving, if not monologues, just sniping at each other. And just when you suddenly get this so clearly fake thing, it really takes you out. And for me, it really made me go, this movie is just a theatrical exercise.
Yeah, it does make me wonder why it needed to be a film and not a play.
Absolutely.
And I think the few sequences that were really lovely, like there's a really lovely dream hallucination fantasy sequence.
Semi-erotic fascination.
Which is the only erotic part really of
Never
the
really,
whole film.
Really,
for a writer who's famed for a smouldering or a quiet passion.
Oh, that's the title of the show. But yeah, there's really never. It never quite gets there except for that one sequence, when it should be, I think, underlying all of it. And also, one of my other big problems with it is, and I'm going to quote Paul Schrader, who I'll talk about later.
Why not?
But he said that a screenplay should have 2 or 3 good lines tops, or else, essentially, every line ceases to have that surprise. And every line in this movie is fantastic. It's so smart and intelligent, but then after like 20 minutes of hearing like 20 amazing lines per minute, there's no surprise anymore, and the wit becomes normalized. And I just got really bored, despite it being like, I could think this is clever, but I wasn't happy with it.
Early on, there were some pretty funny moments. Well, I found pretty funny. And that I thought, there were also those moments too that I was mentioning before that really utilized the film, the camera.
It's so
to really tell part of the story, like a beautiful pan around the room to come back to Emily to tell the story of her position within the family. That was really, really lovely.
And there's that early sequence where they do the time lapse, essentially, these photos, which on paper doesn't work that well, but it's stunning. It's just this very subtle special effect from the younger to older actors.
Because I had read about that ahead of the film, and I was like, ooh, no, that is going to be clunky.
You told me, like, this is going to be bullshit, Kai. Yeah.
Essentially,
I was like, calm down, Lauren.
But then it was, I agree. It was really, really lovely. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was performances. They were all pretty good.
Except for rubber-faced Johnny.
Yeah, the brother.
The brother.
Which was quite unsettling.
Look, everyone's good. Keith Carradine's the dad's very good. Cynthia Nixon, of course, is fucking incredible. But yeah, the brother, he's just, and maybe it's clearly, I think we noticed afterwards, he's clearly Scottish and he lets his accent loose all the time, and he's just so much bigger than everyone else is. And it's when he's arguing the Civil War sequence again, when he's arguing with his dad, and he just sounds like a petulant toddler, but I will not go to war. It's like that.
No, he wants to go to war.
Does he?
Yeah, his dad's like, no, you have to stay.
This is how much I was with this movie.
You were present. You were present. Yeah.
Well,
That I did find that element of the film quite interesting, though, the relationship between adult children and parents, because all the children in the family live at home at the beginning of the film.
and mostly the end, basically.
Yeah,
With exceptions, yeah.
and that relationship was really interesting to see played out, like a 40-year-old woman to be scolded by her father like a little.
She gains independence. They're all still gaining this kind of almost only intellectual independence within the
Yeah.
household, still run by their patriarch. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I felt like, had this film sort of played up the opportunities given to it by the medium of film, that would have been a far more interesting thing. But
Yes.
overall, I thought it was pretty good. Yeah.
I didn't.
Although I keep forgetting about the Civil War sequence.
Yeah, well, you liked it more than I did.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's how I feel about the movie.
Good feelings.
Well, thanks for watching part 1 of our Films That Smoulder trilogy. Watch out for our second show on Wong Kar-wai's 2000 film In the Mood for Love. Good night.
Good night.